जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद, प्रभुपाद श्रील प्रभुपाद। Jai Vishnupad Paramahans Parivirajikacharya Stotra Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai The Lord Shri 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 Radha Radhanath Ki Jai Shri Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai Thai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Madhurya Mataji, the book is wrong. Next one, part 2. It has up to 18.
I know, I just took all one.
Added it to my goals. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtapraya Sabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavatyutama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, entitled The Characteristics of King Puranjan, text number 8. Ete tvam sampratikshante smaranta vaishasam tava samparitam ayam kute chindanti utita manyavam ete tvam sampratikshante smaranto vaishasam tava samparetam ayakuteis chindantyutitamanyavam ete tvam sampratikshante smaranto vaishasam tava samparetam ayakuteis chindantyutitamanyavam. Tvam sampratikshante smarantu vaishasam tava samparetam ayakuteis chindantyutitamanyavam ete tvam sampratikshante smaranto vaishasam tava samparetam ayakuteis chindantyutitamanyavam ete tvam sampratikshante smaranto vaishasam tava samparetam ayakuteis chindantyutitamanyavam. Word for word translation. Ete, all of them. Tvam, you. Sampratikshante, are awaiting. Smaranta, remembering. Vaishasam, injuries. Tava, of you. Samparetam, after your death. Ayam, made of iron. Kute, by the horns. Chindanti, pierce. Uttita, enlivened. Manyava, anger. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, Text number 8, Translation and Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All these animals are awaiting your death so that they can avenge the injuries you have inflicted upon them. After you die, they will angrily pierce your body with iron horns. Purport. Narada Muni wanted to draw King Parichinabharisat's attention to the excesses of killing animals in sacrifices. It is said in the Shastras that by killing animals in a sacrifice, one immediately promotes them to human birth. Similarly, by killing their enemies on a battlefield, the Kshatriyas who fight for a right cause are elevated to the heavenly planets after death. In Manu Samhita, it is stated that it is necessary for a king to execute a murderer so that the murderer will not suffer for his criminal actions in his next life. On the basis of such understanding, Narad Muni warns the king that the animals killed in sacrifices by the king await him at his death in order to avenge themselves. Narad Muni is not contradicting himself here. Narad Muni wanted to convince the king that overindulgence in animal sacrifice is risky, because as soon as there is a small discrepancy in the execution of such a sacrifice, the slaughtered animal may not be promoted to a human form of life. Consequently, the person performing sacrifice will be responsible for the death of the animal, just as much as a murderer is responsible for killing another man. When animals are killed in a slaughterhouse, 6 people connected with the killing are responsible for the murder: the person who gives permission for the killing, the person who kills, the person who helps, the person who purchases the meat, the person who cooks the flesh, and the person who eats it. All become entangled in the killing. Narad Muni wanted to draw the king's attention to this fact. Thus, animal killing is not encouraged even in a sacrifice. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakayam Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gunun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanitankscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Etitvam sampratikshante smaranto vaishasam tava samparetam ayakutes chindatyutityamanyavam. All these animals are awaiting your death so that they can avenge the injuries you have inflicted upon them. After you die, they will angrily pierce your body with iron horns. Hare Krishna. My obeisances to Bhakti Brihad Bhagat Maharaj. He can bless all of us so that whatever we are hearing and discussing today can lead to our ultimate benefit. We are reading about Narad Muni's discourse with King Prachinabharisat. He is also known as Barisman and also as Prachinabharhi. He had quite a few names. We saw from the beginning of this canto, Maitreya Rishi was describing the lineage of Swayambhuva Manu. Vidura wanted to know more about Swayambhuva Manu and in particular his children. And so we find that Maitreya Rishi was narrating about the son of Swayambhuva Manu, Uttanapad, who had a son known as Uttama and Dhruva. And so after narrating the entire Dhruva Maharaj's pastimes, Maitreya Rishi continued with Dhruva Maharaj's lineage. And in that lineage, we find that Prithu Maharaj also came. And after Prithu Maharaj were the Prachetas. These were all great devotees of the Lord. That is why Vidura asked to hear about the descendants of Swayambhuva Manu, because in his line, so many great devotees came. And with these great devotees, there is always more and more Krishna Katha. And so after hearing about Dhruva Maharaj and Prithu Maharaj and the Prachetas, we find that Maitreya Rishi is speaking about the father of the Prachetas, King Prachinabarhi. In this whole line, he was the only one who was not 100% a pure devotee. And so therefore we find Narad Muni, he said the whole descendants of Swayambhuva Manu, right from Dhruva Maharaj onwards, they're all devotees. Let's also ensure that this king, King Prachinabarhi, also follows his ancestors and his sons, the Prachetas. And so Narad Muni came there and he's asking King Prachinabarhi that you're doing so many fruitive activities. He was doing so many yagyas. It is mentioned that in his kingdom, there would always be a yagya fire lit in the eastern direction. So there were so many he was lighting at the same time, one after another. Always, there was one always happening. And so Narad Muni is asking that, he's saying the chief aim of life is to get rid of miseries and enjoy happiness. But what you're doing, that will not give this aim. Therefore, you should consider what is to be done. And so Narad Muni then is telling him that all these animals that you've sacrificed, they are waiting for you. He's showing them in the sky. Look at these animals, they're all waiting with iron horns, ready to pierce you, to cut you, chindanti, to cut you, because you have sacrificed them. And as Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, there is always the risk that these animals that are sacrificed in such a way do not get promoted to human birth. And so, just like we have a ceremony known as Shraddha. Shraddha is a ceremony that is done in honor of the ancestors, because there is always that possibility that the ancestors did not get out of hell or of this material world, or ended up in hell. And so therefore a ceremony is done of offering them Vishnu Prasad so that they can come out of a hellish condition. So in the same way, Narad Muni is telling King Prachinabarhi, all these animals are waiting. When Sanatana Goswami approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag, the Shashvamedha Ghat, he asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to instruct him on what is his identity and the goal of life. And during that discussion, then there was a discussion of the Atmarama verse. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is speaking about Narad Muni's preaching. And he tells an incident that happened in Narad Muni's preaching to Sanatana Goswami. He mentions one day Narad Muni came to Prayag. And as he was entering the city Prayag, on the outskirts where the forest was. On his path, he saw that there was a deer that was pierced by an arrow. And this deer was writhing in pain. Legs were broken, it was twisting and turning, but it wasn't dead. Narad Muni felt so much compassion. This poor soul is suffering so much. And as he went a little bit further, he found that there was a boar in a similar condition. The boar was also pierced by arrows, broken limbs, writhing in pain, half dead. Narad Muni said, "What is this? It's so surprising. Who is doing something like this?" And he went a little further, he found a rabbit in a similar condition, also very much in pain, crying, half dead. So Narad Muni went off that path, could understand there is someone who is doing this. I need to find that person and stop that person from doing this. And so he went off the path into the forest. And there he saw there was a hunter with his bow and arrow drawn, waiting. So Narad Muni went off the path into the forest where the animals were, where the hunter was trying to hunt. And the animals, seeing Narad Muni, they all fled. So this hunter approached Narad Muni and said, "My dear sir, what are you doing here? This is the forest. Have you gotten lost? Because of you, all the animals fled away." So Narad Muni asked the hunter and said, "Please tell me, sir, I just have a doubt in my mind. I want you to clear that doubt. On the way I saw there was a deer, a boar and a rabbit, all in a very pitiable condition. Is that your work?" The hunter said, "Yes, it's my work. Good work, very nice work." Narad Muni said, "But why are you killing them half? Why aren't you killing them full?" He said, "No, this is how my father used to do it. He showed me, he trained me like this. And so therefore I am also doing the same, and I get great pleasure seeing them writhing in pain. That's where the enjoyment is of these activities that I am doing." Narad Muni then told him, he said, similarly to what he is telling here, Prachina Barisat, he said, why don't you kill them completely? This is my request to you. Because you are causing them unnecessary pain. You want to kill them, fine. Kill them completely. But because you are causing them unnecessary pain, you are leaving them in such a painful condition, you will suffer great amount of sin because of this. And so the hunter said, "But what can I do? This is what I have learnt." And somehow, because of the presence of Narad Muni, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions, when the hunter saw Narad Muni and the animals had fled, he wanted to abuse Narad Muni. He wanted to use some very bad words. But because of the power of Narad Muni, those words couldn't come out of his mouth. And so as Narad Muni is explaining to him that you will have to suffer the sin for killing these animals half, causing them unnecessary pain, these words sank in his consciousness. And the hunter somewhat got convinced that there are unlimited number of sins that he will have to suffer because of this. So he immediately surrendered to Narad Muni and he asked him, "Please tell me, how can I come out from these sins?" Narad Muni asked him, he said, "First, who are you?" He said, "I am Mrigari. My name is Mrigari." If we look at the word Mriga, Mriga means animal. Lion also sometimes is called Mriga. But basically it just means an animal. And Ari means enemy of the animal. So basically Mrigari, his name was, "I am an enemy of the animals." So he said, "My name is Mrigari." Narad Muni said, "Mrigari, if you are agreeable to what I am going to tell you, then you can be free from these sins." So Mrigari said, "Yes, please tell me. What should I do?" He said, "First of all, I want you to break your bow." Mrigari became astonished. He's like, "If I break my bow, how will I sustain myself?" Narad Muni said, first do that, then I will tell you. I will send you food, don't worry. So immediately the hunter, taking faith in Narad Muni's words, he broke his bow and he surrendered. And he asked Narad Muni, okay, I have broken my bow, now what should I do? Narad Muni said, you go home, whatever riches you have, you distribute them to the pure Brahmanas. You and your wife leave that place where you're staying with just one cloth, not more. You leave that place, you come to the bank of the river here, Ganga, that's flowing near Prayag, and you build a small cottage and you stay there. I will send you food. Grow Tulsi Maharani, Narad Muni told Mrigari. Grow Tulsi Maharani, offer her worship every day, circumambulate her, water her, and at the same time chant the Hare Krishna mantra. He said, you do this, I will send you food. So Mrigari was surrendered enough. He immediately went home, followed Narad Muni's instructions, left home with just one piece of cloth on him, and his wife also just took one piece of cloth, and they built a small hut near the banks of the Ganga, grew Tulsi Maharani and were chanting. And the people of Prayag, the village there, they understood that this dacoit, Mrigari, has become a Vaishnava, and they would come every day bringing so much grains with them. And they would bring enough grains to feed 20 people every single day. But Mrigari, he would only take what is required by him and his wife. And in this way, they were following the instructions of Narad Muni, they were chanting. So Narad Muni, a short time later, told his friend Parvata Muni, let us go and see this person. And so they came to see Mrigari. Mrigari saw from a distance Narad Muni and Parvata Muni coming, and he wanted to pay obeisances, but instead he was jumping around. And Parvata Muni was wondering, why is this person jumping around? And so as they came closer, then Mrigari, with the upper cloth that he had, he was sweeping on the road. And they saw, he's sweeping the ants aside. He did not even want to squash the ants while doing Dandavat. So he was sweeping the ants aside, and then he paid his obeisances. And Narad Muni, seeing this behavior, told Parvata Muni, it is not astonishing. What Mrigari is doing now is not at all astonishing. Because a Vaishnava is very compassionate. He doesn't want to kill anyone or any insect. And so, because Mrigari has no envy in his heart now, therefore, this kind of behavior is there. They don't want to cause any pain. Narad Muni quoted from the Skanda Puran, which is being quoted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Said Skanda Puran says the Vaishnavas, because they have no envy in their heart, they do not cause any distress to others. And so Parvata Muni was astonished seeing this change, this transformation in Mrigari. And then Narad Muni asked him, are you okay? He said, no, Guru Maharaj, I am not okay. Why? What happened? Saying, please don't send so much food. Too much prasad. We only require a little bit just for the two of us. We are getting so much. Please, I request you, please don't send so much food. So Narad Muni became very, very pleased seeing Mrigari's behavior. And Parvata Muni began glorifying Narad Muni. He said, you are just like a touchstone. You can touch an sinful person and transform them into a devotee of the Lord. So Narad Muni's compassion has no bounds. So similarly, he came to Prachinabarisat. He became compassionate to Prachinabari. He said, why? Why are you engaging in so much fruitive activities, in these sacrifices, these karma kanda sacrifices, and taking on the risk of having all these animals not being promoted to a human form of life and waiting for you instead to kill you? Therefore, stop this behavior. We find that the root cause of sin, as given in our scriptures, is avidya, ignorance. Mrigari also did not know that by causing unnecessary pain to all these animals, he is incurring so much sinful reaction. Now, if you go and tell people, oh, you'll get sin They don't want to believe that. They say, one, how do you know after leaving this body we will be alive? There is a movement or a school of thought today known as you only live once. You might find that. There is a hashtag, YOLO. You only live once. So firstly, people say, there is no life after death. Everything is here. Yeah. We find that when the Yamadutas came for Ajamil, they were dragging him from the body. And he was shouting, Narayan, Narayan, please save me. He was calling his son, not the Lord. However, the Lord was so merciful, he sent his agents, the Vishnu Dutas, go and save Ajamil. So when the Vishnu Dutas came, the Yamadutas asked them, hey, who are you? This is our business, why are you coming here? So Vishnu Dutta said, we are agents of Vishnu, but who are you? They said, we are agents of Yamaraj. So they said, then there was a test done. The Vishnu Dutta said, if you are agents of Yamaraj, first tell us, from where do these Vedas, who goes to hell and where do the Vedas come from? And so, immediately the Yamadutas replied that those who go against the direction of the Vedas are the ones ending up in hell, and these directions have been given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. And in that discussion, then they were saying that they are witnesses to the activities. Whatever we are doing, there are so many witnesses. The Yamadutas, they quote the demigods like sun, moon, air, etc., the elements. And they say even the Paramatma in the heart, the super soul in the heart is a witness. So when people say, oh, there is no life after death, or even if there is, who has witnessed what I've done? This is what we tend to say. When I did this, nobody was around. I didn't harm anybody. I didn't, I committed a sinful activity, but who saw? Who's going to punish me? There is no such thing as hell. These are the kind of beliefs that people hold today. Mrigari was of the same opinion. I am just enjoying what I am doing. There is no repercussion to this activity. But the law of karma states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And therefore we find people getting so much confused. Why some things happen to them in their life which they can't explain. Out of nowhere, something has come. They can't explain. Some disease has come in the body. They can't explain. Because of being ignorant of the laws of nature, of being ignorant of how the world works, of being ignorant about the Vedic knowledge. And so therefore there is suffering. Avidya, ignorance, leads to papa, sin, and then papa leads to suffering. When there is sin, there is suffering. And so Narad Muni here, we find with both Mrigrari and Prachina Barisat, he is trying to save them from that suffering. Someone may say, well, I am not suffering now. Yeah. Mrigrari was enjoying, he wasn't suffering. But Narad Muni is telling him, no, suffering will come in the future. We find like even with our government, there are many people, in Swahili there is a saying, Kula leo kesho mungu. Eat today, tomorrow we'll see. So the tendency is that when they get a government job, then you milk that job as much as possible because you don't know if you're going to get re-elected the next time. So right now you're there, you earn by legal means or illegal means, just make your money, fill your pockets. Tomorrow we'll see what happens later. Yeah. So the same way, people think, oh, I can do whatever I want. There is no repercussions. There will be no reactions. And this way, we can just go on with whatever we want. But Narad Muni here, he's showing, no, every action, there are reactions. So he's telling Prachina Barisat that these reactions are awaiting you. These animals, they're waiting with their iron horns to pierce you. Why take that risk? So therefore, he is going to suggest to Prachina Barisat that in order to come out of these reactions, just like he told Mrigari, one has to perform devotional service. Because through avidya, ignorance, then one tends to sin. And these have reactions. There are two types of reactions. There is the mature reaction and the immature reaction. Prarabdha karma and aprarabdha karma. So mature reaction, nothing can be done about it. It is there, it has to be suffered. So our scriptures, they tell us that when someone is pious, they get 4 results. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shribhir. Janma, high birth or high parentage. Aishwarya, they get opulence. Shruta, they have high education. And Shribhir, they have beauty. So according to the level of piety, someone can have 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, or 4 of 4. All 4. If someone's very pious, they get all 4. And impious are exactly the opposite. Low birth, no education, no wealth, and being ugly. So these are the reactions that come, pious and impious. So prarabdha karma, someone has a diseased or deformed body, that's prarabdha karma. It's already mature. The reaction is mature. Can't be done. Nothing can be done about it. And then there is the aprarabdha karma, the immature reaction, which is waiting to come. This is what Narad Muni is showing here, Prachina Barisat. You've done your work. Yes, you've done some sacrifices. You've engaged in killing of animals. But the reaction is yet to come. So our Puranas, Padma Puran tells us of this aprarabdha karma has 3 stages. So the immature reaction has 3 stages. One is bija, the seed. It's like we have a seed on the table here. It's doing nothing. It's there. It has the potential of becoming a tree, but it is dormant. Only when you put that seed in the ground, then it will start doing its function. So there is that bija, the inherent sin that we are collecting with ourselves. It's not yet manifest. The proclivity is there. And then there is kuta. Kuta means it has begun to sprout. Now the seed we've put in ground and it begins to sprout. It's sprouting, it has not produced fruits yet. So that is the next stage of aprarabdha karma. Kuta. And then there is falonmukha. Falonmukha means that stage which is producing or about to produce fruit, the bud. When the fruit is still growing, it is about to produce, has not yet produced. So in this way, we have 2 reactions to sinful activities. The mature reaction and the immature reaction. And in these, the immature reactions, we don't know how many are yet to come. There can be so many still waiting to come. Just like a farmer, he grows, we have a farm there in Nairobi. And we grow avocados, we grow macadamia nuts. So macadamia nuts, the trees, they take 5 years to produce fruit. Yeah. So we have a whole bunch of trees, an orchard of macadamias. We can't look at one tree that is producing and say, okay, this is only what I'll get. No, the other trees are still in process. So the same way, we have done so much karma. We've done so many activities. And all these activities have reactions. How many reactions we have to suffer for, we don't know. We are only seeing what we are suffering now. But with devotional service, when one starts engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, then the first thing that happens is the immature reactions, those are dealt with immediately. They are very quickly. Lord Krishna tells us in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4 that the transcendental knowledge is so powerful. Just like fire burns cotton, transcendental knowledge burns up all these immature reactions for our sinful activities as quickly. Lord Krishna says, just as in forest fire, all the snakes die. Similarly, in the fire of transcendental knowledge, all these immature reactions, they are finished immediately. This is the power of devotional service. How does this happen? Because devotional service destroys ignorance. The avidya is dealt with. We are ignorant. We've forgotten who we are. We have forgotten that we are eternal servants of the Lord, that our eternal occupation is to engage in His service. And because of this forgetfulness, because of this ignorance that is covering us, we are engaged in other activities that produce sinful results. So when we come to devotional service, then we are situated in our original position, that of being a servant to Lord Krishna. And through that knowledge of transcendental knowledge, it destroys this ignorance. Tesham evanukampartham aham ajnana jamtama nasham yatma bhavasto jnana dipena bhashvata. Lord Krishna tells us that to those who are engaged in serving me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. And not only that, I seated in their hearts destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the ignorance that is there. Jnana dipena, and with that jnana dipena, with the shining lamp of knowledge, then the ignorance is destroyed. This knowledge is the knowledge that I am the soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And my eternal occupation is to engage in His service. That's why, going back to Sanatana Goswami, when he approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he asked him, Ke ami? Kene more tapatrai? Who am I and why am I suffering here in this world? The people in the village, they're calling me Pandita, but I do not know who I am. Therefore, my dear Lord, please instruct me. And that's when Mahaprabhu says, Jivera Swarupa hoy Krishnera Nityadas. That the eternal form or the eternal position of the soul is to serve Krishna. And when we get that knowledge and we develop that knowledge through the process of devotional service, then the avidya, the ignorance, is destroyed. And then one comes out from this circle or cycle of repeated actions and reactions, the karma. We find in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is teaching Arjuna the same thing. There is karma, those activities prescribed by the Vedic scriptures. There is vikarma, which everyone today in this day and age is performing. Vikarma, they are not, those are whimsical actions. I do what I want, where I want, when I want, and how I want it. This is the philosophy that is being taught today to everyone. You are your own boss. Nobody can tell you what to do. You do what you want, when you want it, where you want it, how you want it. Let nobody tell you otherwise. They say it's called you do you. You do what is feeling good to you. Just take care of yourself. Don't worry about anything else. This is vikarma. We're going against scriptural rules and regulations. And vikarma definitely only produces, the reaction it produces is just papa, sinful reactions. Because it's going against the law. Right? And apart from these two, then there is the third type of activities that we can do, and that is called akarma. Work that produces no results. Either good result or bad result. And that is devotional service. So therefore Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, you perform akarma. Once you do that, then there will be no reactions. Yagyarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. He says, work done as a sacrifice to Vishnu does not bind the performer. Therefore, you should do your work as a sacrifice for Lord Vishnu. Then there will be no bondage. There will be no good reaction. There will be no bad reaction. See here, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that the animals who are sacrificed, they get human birth. That's a good reaction. But Srila Prabhupada is saying, Narad Muni is saying, yes, you are sacrificing these animals, King Prachinabarhi, you're giving them, promoting them to human birth, there is a good reaction, but there is also a risk that there may be some discrepancy done by the priest. And because of that, the animals don't get promoted. And so then you will end up with an opposite reaction, with the bad reaction. Therefore, why engage in such activity where there is a chance of risk? Do something that is risk-free, that is 100% guaranteed. And that is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach us. Risk-free. Namna makari bahudani ja sarva shaktis tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kala etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi Durdeva midrisham iha janina anuragaham. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my dear Lord, you have invested all your potencies in your names. But unfortunately, we don't have attraction. And there are no rules and regulations in chanting these names. With all these other prescriptions of the Vedas, there's so many rules, regulations. One has to look at the place, one has to look at the time, one has to look at the circumstances. There's so many, in this kind of sacrifice, there's so many types of purity that have to be maintained. Dravya Shuddhi, purity of the paraphernalia. Mantra Shuddhi, purity of the utterance of the Vedic mantras. Bhuta Shuddhi, the Brahmana himself has to be very clean. Then Sthana Shuddhi, the place has to be clean. Kala Shuddhi, the time has to be clean. So many things have to be in order for one to get the result of that sacrifice. But Mahaprabhu is saying, when it comes to the holy name of the Lord, one does not have to look at the time. You can chant even in the middle of the night, no problem. Nor have to look at the place. Anywhere is possible. All sorts of places you can chant. You don't have to look at the cleanliness of your own self. You don't have to look at the paraphernalia, nothing. And when it comes to regard of mantra shuddhi, then the holy name is pure always. Nama chintamani Krishna is chaitanya rasa vigraha purna shuddho nitya mukto abhinatvam nama namino. The Lord and His name are non-different. And they are always complete, purna, shuddha. They are always pure. Right? So therefore, one does not need to worry about all these things. Will it give me the result that I am looking for? No. Simply by engaging in Sankirtan Yagya. Here, Prachinabari is engaging in Karma Kanda Yagya. So many risks he is taking, which Narad Muni is highlighting. But with Sankirtan Yagya, there are no risks. It's always pure, and it's always complete, and it's always giving the desired result. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Darpanam Arjanam. By doing this Sankirtan Yagya, we are purified of this avidya that's in the heart, that's covering our knowledge. And not only that, by engaging in Sankirtan Yagya, there are so many wonderful benefits. All auspiciousness comes. An ocean of bliss is experienced by the performer. And so therefore, we see that Narad Muni, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted how he saved this Mrigrari, the hunter. Mrigrari also followed the same process. Narad Muni gave him the same instruction. Chant the holy names of the Lord. And he got purified of his ignorance, he got purified of his reactions. And he was completely happy and satisfied in serving Narad Muni and the Supreme Lord. In the same way, we'll see further on, King Prachina Barisat is also being instructed by Narad Muni in the same manner. Narad Muni, he is the expert preacher. He preaches to all sorts of people and makes them into devotees. From hunters to 5-year-old children like Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj, to kings like Prachina Barisat, to Yudhishthir Maharaj, to even demons like Kamsa and Hiranyakashipu. Narad Muni preaches to everyone. Yeah. And he has a wide range of very many types of disciples. But the message is always the same. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he sings, Narada Muni bajaye veena radhika ramana name. Narad Muni is playing his veena. That veena was given to him by Lord Krishna himself. And he's always chanting the names of Radhika and Raman. Radha and Krishna. He's always chanting. And he's telling everyone else also, you chant. This is the only way to destroy the ignorance in the heart. And when that is done, then all these things, all the reactions, all the suffering that is coming, that is waiting us, all gets destroyed. In conclusion, Rupa Goswami mentions that the first result of pure devotional service, when one begins the process of pure devotional service, the first result one experiences is Klesha-agni, relief from material distress. This distress comes, suffering comes because of the papa we've done, because of the sin we've done. And sin comes from avidya, because of the ignorance we have. And so because we are attacking the root of all sin, the avidya itself, then all these others get destroyed by devotional service. And then the next result is Shubhada, gives all auspiciousness, which we see Narad Muni giving assurances to Mrigari that don't worry, you will get your food. I will arrange it. So in this way, we should be very much grateful that we've been exposed to this path of devotional service, and that by engaging in devotional service, all these inauspicious elements, the reactions that we have done to our so many lifetimes of sin, those are all destroyed. So in this way, Narad Muni, he is preaching to Prachina Barisat and saying, don't engage in risky behavior. Even if you are sure, there is always a risk that the priest has made a mistake somewhere, or the time was inauspicious, or the place got contaminated somehow. So don't take this risk. Do something which is without risk. So we'll see now further how Narad Muni, he preaches more and more to Prachina Barisat and convinces him to take to the path of devotional service. Hare Krishna. If there are any questions or comments, Maharaj, would you like to add anything? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Can you please reconcile the matters of karma and responsibility, transcendental practice and responsibility, and lastly, what is the last one I'm trying to remember now? Self-care and humility. Hare Krishna.
In the Bhagavad Gita, we find Arjuna, when he was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he did not want to fight. That was his duty. He did not want to fight. So in that discussion, then two duties are highlighted. One is Swadharma and the other is Sanatan Dharma. So Swadharma means the rules and duties that we have to do according to our Varna and Ashram. There are 4 Varnas, 4 occupations, and 4 ashrams, 4 social positions. Right? So accordingly to that, the Vedic literature gives prescriptions what is to be done. That is known as Swadharma. Right? But at the same time, there is Sanatan Dharma. As the soul, we have our eternal occupation. And so, through the guidance of a spiritual master, the spiritual master guides his disciple how to align these two. That the Swadharma has to support the Sanatan Dharma. Not that the Swadharma is taking us away from the Sanatan Dharma, from our eternal occupation. So, the Guru helps in reconciling. Spiritual master tells us, okay, this is the ashram you should be in, this is the work you should do, and this is how you can go towards the eternal occupation, the Sanatan Dharma. So that is, there is no blanket formula. It's upon each and every disciple. The Guru tweaks accordingly to situate that person in the best possible way so that they can continue in their path of self-realization. So it's not that devotees have no responsibilities. We find Arjuna, he wanted to run away from his responsibilities. But Lord Krishna told him, no, you have to fight. But then Lord Krishna, taking the role of a spiritual master, told him how to fight and at the same time progress on the path of self-realization. Mayarpita mano buddhir mam evashatya sangshaya. You give your mind and intelligence unto me and you will reach me. And Lord Krishna showed him through the whole Gita how to do this. Yeah. So, Guru is required for that. Hope that helps. Okay. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।